just start with wrap up this past weekend and look ahead to Utah Valley and Pitt.
Really good weekend out west, especially Arizona State, obviously a pretty highly ranked team, and we knew they'd be ready for us, and I think they were. We wrestled in a great environment. I don't know how many people were there, but it was packed house, and so that was good. I thought we competed really well. We got taken down right away in a lot of those matches, which you don't probably like, but I liked how we came back in those matches. And then we did a good job. We were probably a little too much for Cal Baptist right now, but we did a good job there. So, we're excited to be at Hilton. It's been a while.
What are the unique challenges of facing a team twice in Pittsburgh in the same season?
Well, you've got, it's about making adjustments. It's kind of like the first half and the second half, and you get to go in there at halftime and figure some things out. We've obviously had a really long halftime. It's been 2 or 3 weeks, right? So, but they're a quality team. They got Oklahoma State on Friday night at Pitt, and then they're going to get in a plane and fly to the frozen tundra of Iowa. And so we'll see what kind of adjustments they make, and we'll make. It'll probably be pretty similar lineups. But they're a quality program, and man, we can't overlook those guys for 1 second. They're going to come ready.
Go ahead, Ben.
Why didn't Evan Frost wrestle over the weekend?
Evan Frost didn't wrestle because he had a little too much to eat over Christmas, right? And drink and eat and drink, right? And I'm sure it was a lot of milk and orange juice and Gatorade, because he doesn't do that other stuff, but he had plenty. So we decided that he was a little too chubby to be a 133-pounder. I just say it like it is, right?
Yeah. And then you mentioned giving up the first takedowns in a couple matches against Arizona State. Maybe the most notable was Cody Chittum gave up the first takedown to Ja'Cory Teamer and then rallied back to win that match. What did you see from him in that match?
He's just got a big gas tank, and I think he's a good matchup for that guy because, I don't think that guy likes to get that tired. And Cody, that was the intent, to go out there and see how tired we could get him and see what happened. And, a one takedown match, you're not going to win against Ja'Cory Teamer, but as time goes on, the playing field gets more level. But he's a tremendous wrestler. Just, it was Cody's day. He was ready.
Then Younger Bastida against Colton Schultz. What did you see in that match?
I saw a guy that was smart and handling a big guy. Colton weighed 284.6, and they let you weigh 285. So I think he probably had to lose a little bit of weight, like the rest of the guys do right before the match to make that weight. So he's a big boy and a guy that's been, in the finals. He's been third. Younger keeps making progress.
And then Younger chose bottom almost instantly in that match. What does that show you about his progression that he's had in folks?
He's getting a lot more confidence in the bottom. Sunday Pitt guy's really good on top. So, we'll see what happens when we get to that point.
What have you learned about Cody just from, obviously the first few ranked matches he has, he's right there, he's close, and then he's able to kind of just overcome that and get the win. I mean, what have you learned about him, and where has he grown the most in that time this season?
Well, he's a freshman, and freshmen are going to be a little bit of roller coasters every now and then. So we've seen that already. But when that roller coaster gets to the top, you see he's pretty darn good. So I look for him to continue to build and get better. Is he going to probably have a freshman moment or two? Yeah, maybe he will. But I think he's a guy that, as we get closer to March and get closer to Kansas City, that can. That a lot of people probably aren't going to want to see on their bracket sheet right away. So,
you mentioned too a little bit ago that on that takedown he had, where his knees in a kind of an awkward spot, I was trying to get away from that. I mean, how much as a coach do you wince when he makes those kind of moves, but also just kind of have a wow factor when he?
Well, he likes to scramble, and he puts his knees in positions that does make me nervous. My heart drops a little bit when he gets there. So he's got to learn how to be smart. I don't want to take that away from him. We don't want to take that away from him. But at the same time, he's got to make some adjustments and learn when to squash guys with his hips. He's got to learn, to not put his knees in those positions sometimes. So, but he's a fun guy to watch. I think he's entertaining.
We've heard about what Cody's like in the room just from his teammates, what a funny guy he is. In your words, what is he like in the room?
He's super loose. I mean, he's a guy that's a fun guy to be around, but he's also loves wrestling. He's got a tremendous work ethic. He's in here a lot in the mornings with Coach Metcalf. When nobody else is in here, and he's been a great addition to our team.
What kind of impact has he made on the rest of your team having?
Well, I think they know he's crazy, but I'm sure they sit back and look at him and go, "Wow, he's kind of the right kind of crazy," because he knows how to have a good time, and he's a light guy when we're away from the practice room, and he's super competitive. They play this bomb squad game before practice every day, and when he goes out, there's a meltdown. There's a meltdown and a lot of angry words. So he's a competitor.
Julian, I mean, for what he's doing this season, being a new father and everything, I mean, what have you just seen from him and being able to manage not only being a student, an athlete, but also a new father?
Well, he's had a lot on his plate, and like I had a conversation with him just not too long ago. Last year he was a 174 pounder, and he really had to work hard to make 174. He was behind Marcus Coleman for 2 years, and 174 is probably not his natural wheelhouse, but he had to sacrifice and get really uncomfortable. And now he's kind of getting uncomfortable in a different way, and that I'm sure his time at home is a lot, I don't want to say more stressful, but demanding. And the sleep probably hasn't been as consistent as he did before he had a child, as we all know. But I think he's excited about kind of the progress he's made in the wrestling mat a little bit here. So he's got a big weekend. He's got 2 really tough opponents. Utah Valley's best guy is their 197, and then he's got a tough opponent from Pitt. So I'm really curious to see what happens this weekend.
He said that Olive's almost become an unofficial team mascot. I mean, how cool is it to see your team kind of just unite around something like that and just something that cool?
Well, we got a baby in the room a couple days a week watching practice, so crazy times.
You've been coaching him, obviously, his career. How have you really seen him change from the guy he was last year, or even back when he first started, to the guy he is now? Because he's talked a lot about how his mentality has changed now that he's a father. What's that like from your perspective?
I got to see a little bit more here the next month or two. I mean, he's making progress, but I challenge Julian all the time. I think he doesn't set his goals high enough. I think he needs to set high goals. I think and he might look at me and cock his head sideways, but that's all right. He does that a lot with me. So I challenge him. I say, if you're doing this, you got a lot on your plate. You got to make a lot of sacrifices to wrestle this season. Because I know when they first got the news, he was kind of back and forth whether he should wrestle or not. And I said, whatever you do, go for it. Go for it one way or go for it the other. So that's going to be my message for him: is let's go for it. We're not striving just to get to the NCAA tournament. We want to make sure we make a difference when we get there.
Honestly, I think the biggest story of the weekend is you guys found a lost child. Walk me through what happened from your point of view and just what kind of. Yeah.
Well, it was unusual in that we got done with the match. We had a good weekend. I threw a carrot out there and said, we're just going to order a whole bunch of pizza. Just put it in the lobby. So we found the number one ranked pizza joint in Pomona, California, and we had 10 giant, massive pizzas out there on a counter in this big lobby of a hotel. And we were eating pizza, and some guy was walking around super nervous and had some kids following him. It was kind of just a weird situation. So I just went up to him and said, hey, can we got 2 pizzas left over here. Do you want to grab a pizza? And he just, I lost my kid. My 1-year-old's gone. I said, what? And all our guys were, in the background, and I said, let's go. And everybody hit floors and parking ramps and parking garages, and it was a mad scramble. It seemed like a lot longer than 20 minutes, but I guess that's what it was. So we were all communicating with, we have a group chat going when we go on the road, and everybody that's in our travel party's on the group chat. And so we were on the group chat. I don't remember who texted me, but somebody said Julian's got him. So that was a little bit of that's about as much excitement as you want. And, the parents were just, as a parent, I remember one time losing my daughter in the Des Moines airport, of all places, for about a minute. I can't imagine 20 minutes. I can't imagine it. So they were glad to see the wrestlers.
I guess the last thing for me, when I was looking down here, I saw Casey Swiderski in the probables. I guess what's his status coming back from that little
probable? He's probably more of a no than a yes this weekend. We're making really good progress. If we competed next weekend, he'd be ready to go, assuming we don't have any setbacks. But I watched him drill hard today. He didn't go live today, but did a lot of really hard sparring and looked great, looked fine. So both him and Tate Noctaborn, who's not a starter right now, but a guy that we have access to, both kind of in the same timeline to get back in there. Tate will be at the UNI Open, and Casey could be at the UNI Open. We have to decide if we're going to send him, but we're going to send a big group to the UNI Open.
Talk about how you've seen the rest of your guys really train and prepare for the second half of the season and how they're doing.
We're doing good. We're looking forward to Pitt, and we get a little time off, and boy, Oklahoma State's going to be a heck of a weekend. Oklahoma State's wrestling great right now. They're going to be gunning for us. Gonna have all kinds of people in the stands with cowboy hats on wanting to kill us, so we can't wait to get to Stillwater.
All right.